name's Haley, and today I'm going to be doing my mid-August book haul, otherwise known as my holy shit I have a problem book haul. So I know I usually do my book hauls at the end of the month, but I have so many books already that I'm going to do one before the end of the month, and then I'm going to do another one at the end of the month. I'm going on a book buying ban in September. I swear, it's going to happen. I promise, okay? So before I get into the book haul, I'm just going to let you guys know what I'm reading. So currently I'm reading Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. This is the third and final book in the Infernal Devices trilogy, and I love it so far. I'm 200 pages in, and oh my god, that cover though. Okay, so without further ado, book haul. So these first two books I technically got in July, but they didn't come in before I filmed my July book haul, so they're just thrown in here. So I got these books from Book Depository for the 100 book discount for Booktubeathon. That was a mouthful. So the first one I got is My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick. I haven't read a Huntley Fitzpatrick novel before, although I do own one. Hence the problem, but yeah. So this book is about a girl and her mother, and they live together and they have a really simple life, and her neighbor has this really crazy family, so she kind of wishes she could be a part of that family, and there's romance, and that's all I really know. But I've heard that this is a really awesome book, so I'm excited to see if the hype is worth it. Next book is Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins. This is the second book in the trilogy of companion novels, which starts with Anna and the French Kiss. I ordered Island the Happily Ever After, and I do plan on marathoning the whole series. I haven't read any of them yet, and I have heard just incredible things. I don't think I've heard one bad thing about any of these books. I'm just so excited to read them. I heard they're just such cute romances, and I have been in the mood for that lately, so it's perfect timing. So next I got a few books off of Amazon, and they actually just came in today. So the first one is Pivot Point by Casey West. I don't even actually know what this is about, but I know that it was a bargain book, and oh, I always struggle with this part. It came signed, even though it's a bargain book, and I didn't know it was going to come signed. That's like my favorite thing, and it's happened to me like 3 times. I've bought a book and it was like scratch and dent or like some sort of bargain, and then it comes signed. I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. So like I said, I don't really know what this is about, but I'm gonna read it because I have it. Next I got Across the Universe by Beth Revis, and I specifically got this because I needed this cover. I needed this cover of the first one and A Million Suns, the second one, so I ordered that one, but it's still coming in. I still have books coming in. I have a real like problem. Like, oh my god, I got one less problem without you. Anyways, so yeah, I got this one for the cover, and not just for the cover. Like, I was gonna read the book anyways, but I specifically got this cover. But anyways, I'm rambling. This one, all I know is it's a sci-fi and it takes place in outer space. So that should be interesting. Just because I'm not that into sci-fi, we shall see how I feel about it. But yeah, that's all I have to say. And finally from Amazon, I got Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. This is the final, no, it's the, not the final. And finally, from Amazon, I got Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. This book was also on bargain, and this is the first book in the Hush Hush series. I know these are books about angels, and I've heard kind of mixed things about them, but I see them everywhere, so I figured I would give them a try. Okay, next I got 3 books from Barnes & Noble because I went to the Americas a couple days ago. So I got 3 of the Barnes & Noble leather-bound classic editions, the children's ones. So first I got Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. Through the Looking Glass I read for class last year, and I absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite books, and I'm actually currently reading Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. That was difficult to say. And this is an awesome copy because it has like beautiful colored illustrations. It has like the actual illustrations that were in the original book, which I think is awesome, and it's just such a pretty cover, and it has a little quote on the back and just spine and silver shiny. I love it. Oh, and it has a built-in bookmark. Then the next book I got is Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. So this is also the same kind of shiny built-in bookmark thing. This one also has illustrations in it. So I remember watching this movie as a kid because I was obsessed with horses. It was like my favorite movie ever. So I decided I would read the book, and I don't really remember what it was about, but I know it's a horse, and it's a black horse. Yay! And finally, from Barnes & Noble, I got Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. Same edition. This one doesn't have pictures in it, though. And I remember watching this show as a kid, and I still watch it sometimes, but my mom absolutely loves it. So I decided I would read the book. Okay, so next I got some books from Chapters. This one I got a while ago. I think I got it in like June, but I forgot to put it in my haul for June, and then I forgot to put it in my haul for July. I was really struggling. But anyway, so I got Black City by Elizabeth Richards. They had this book for bargain. It was like $4 for this hardcover copy, and I just love the covers on this series. So all I really know about this book is that it's a dystopian, and it takes place kind of in the aftermath of a pretty brutal war, and there's a romance in it. That's all I know, but look at the covers. They're so nice. The second one is right there, and the third one has the same idea. Next, I just picked up a few classics because they had this deal where all their bargain books, you bought 5 and you got 50% off. So I bought 5 because that's an awesome deal. So these were all like $2. So the first book I got is Animal Farm by George Orwell. I've been wanting to read this book for a really long time, but I could never bring myself to pay like a bunch of money for a teeny tiny paperback. So when I saw this one, it was perfect. So this is an allegory of the Soviet Revolution, and I'm really interested to see how George Orwell does that. I read 1984 a while ago, and I really loved it. It's one of my favorite books, so I'm interested to see what he can do in 95 pages. Next, I got The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I've really wanted to read some Sylvia Plath for a while, so when I saw this, I had to pick it up. I've heard great things about this book. It's about an aspiring poet who has a mental illness, and that's all I really know, but I've just heard great things about it. Next, I got Oliver Twist and Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Obviously, Charles Dickens is a really well-known author, and I haven't read any of his works, so I'm really excited to do that. And I have seen Oliver Twist as a play, so I'm really excited to read the book. And finally, from Chapters, I got The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I got this book because I kind of remember watching the movie as a kid, and it just sounds like a really magical story, and it has pretty colored illustrations in it. That's not an illustration, that's not either, but you get the point. So yeah, I'm excited to read it. Okay, so next I got some books from Book Outlet. So first I got Vicious by V.E. Schwab. If you didn't know, V.E. Schwab is Victoria Schwab, and she's the author of The Archived and The Unbound. And I saw this book on Book Outlet. It's a scratch and dent copy, but it was $4, and I thought it was going to come without the dust jacket, but obviously it didn't. It just has like a little nick down there, but I just taped it down and it's like completely fine other than that. So I know this is kind of about people who they start researching supernatural abilities, and then they find out that you can kind of give humans supernatural abilities, so then they start experimenting, and it kind of goes from there. So that sounds really interesting to me, so I hope it's good. And next I got Anti-Goddess by Kendare Blake. Kendare Blake is the author of the Anna Dressed in Blood duology, and this book is kind of about Greek mythology, which really interests me. Athena and Hermes, they both start getting sick, and they're supposed to be immortal, obviously, because they're gods, and they start getting sick and they're dying. So I'm sorry if you can hear the rain, it's like pouring. I don't like that. So they go on this adventure trying to find out why they are dying, and they're kind of on the brink of a god war, and that just sounds really interesting. Next I got Bright Young Things by Anna Godberson, the same author of the Lux series. So this book takes place in the 1920s, and it's also a historical fiction, obviously. and I had been wanting to read it because I really like the Lux series, so if that is any indication, I'm sure I will love this. And it was $1.99 for the hardback, so I had to get it then. And next I got A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This is also the author of The Secret Garden. I loved this movie as a kid. I saw it so many times, and I believe it's about a little girl who tells all these adventures. She's in an orphanage and she tells all the orphans of these adventures that she goes on, and no one really believes her, and it kind of goes from there. And that's all I really remember, but I know I loved it, so I'm sure I'll love the book just as much. Next we have Please Ignore Viardette's, I can't say her last name, by A.S. King. I've been wanting to read an A.S. King novel for a really long time, ever since I've heard Ariel Bissett just raving about her, and then I saw this one on Book Outlet, so I decided to pick it up. I forget what it's about, to be honest, but I know I've heard great things about A.S. King, so I'm sure it will be really good. Also, it's the winner of the Prince Award, so if that gives any indication, it should be good. Next, I have the whole reason for one of my orders on Book Outlet, and that is Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. So I believe this is an adult book, but it just sounds so interesting. It's about, obviously, Mr. Penumbra's bookstore, and I think there's some kind of like magical realism elements in there, which sounds really awesome. So I'm excited to read a book about a bookstore because I love bookstores, I live in them, so yay! Next I have Entwined by Heather Dixon. So this book is so beautiful. Look at that cover. Oh my god, it's gorgeous. And this, I believe, is kind of a fantasy fairy tale book. The main character, Azalea, like Iggy Azalea. I'm so fancy, you already know. Okay, anyways, so she's kind of trapped. She had the perfect life. She was like perfect little princess, whatever, and then it all gets taken away from her, and then she meets the keeper. So this keeper gives her and her sisters the opportunity to go into this enchanted forest, and she doesn't realize that the keeper is taking something from her each time she goes. So that sounds really interesting, and it kind of reminds me of like a fairy tale, so I think that will be good. Next I got a couple of graphic novels. So I got Oliver Twist and Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne and Charles Dickens, and these are great illustrated classics, and I just thought they seemed really interesting, so I got them. I thought to kind of get back into reading classics, it would be a good idea to pick up some graphic novel versions of them, even though I do plan on reading the actual versions, but these just seemed really cool, so I decided I would get them. And then finally from Book Outlet, I got Frankenstein, Gris Grimley's Frankenstein, assembled from the original text by Mary Shelley. So this is a really big book, like my head, the book, normal book, this book. It's a huge book. I don't know why it's so big, but yeah, so this is a graphic novel version of Frankenstein, which sounds really cool, so I'm very, very excited to read this. I might save this until October for like around Halloween, because that sounds, ooh, Halloweeny. I just said weenie. Okay, so now I'm getting into the big pile of books, and this is the books I got from Books A Million. So first I got The Giver by Lois Lowry. I want to read this book before the movie comes out, which I think it comes out on Friday, so I'll probably read this week. I read this in grade 6, and I really liked it when I read it then, and I wanted my own copy, and I really like these editions of it, and I just want to reread it. Should be good. Also, the guy who is playing, what's his name? Is it Jude? Jonas. The guy who's playing Jonas is, whoo! Next I got The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This is the 10th anniversary edition, and I love it because it's like nice and gold and shiny. And this one was on bargain for like $6, and I've heard just amazing things about it. I believe it's an adult fiction, but I've just heard that it's so good. It's really like a critically acclaimed novel, so I can't wait to hear what all the hype is about. Next I got Eon by Alison Goodman. This is the first book in the Eon-Iona duology. I got this because I had been watching Katrina from Little Book Owl's videos, and I saw that she had a review for these books and she really loved them, and lately I've been wanting to read about like Asia and like Asian culture, so I figured this book would be perfect. And also this book is about dragons, so that's awesome. I think it will be really good, even though it's huge. It's really big. Next I got Requiem, the final book in Lauren Oliver's Delirium trilogy. Haven't started it yet, but I got the final one. All I know about it is that it's about love as a disease, so that sounds really interesting to me. So I got the last one, then I can marathon it. Next I got Crescendo by Becca Fitzpatrick. This is the second book in the Hush Hush series that I hauled the first one like 2 seconds ago. It wasn't 2 seconds ago, like a few minutes ago. But yeah, so it's a series about angels, and got the second one since I had ordered the first one. Next I got Red Glove by Holly Black. This book is the second book in the Curse Workers trilogy. I thought it was the final one because I've seen the first and the second for bargain prices, but I hadn't seen the final one, so I thought it was this one, but I messed up, so now I have this one, but it's fine. Oh well, what can you do? Next I got Revolution by Jennifer Donnelly. This book was on my Goodreads TBR. It's a historical fiction, and that's about all I know. Next I got Just One Day by Gail Forman. I read If I Stay a while ago, and I did really like it, and I'm planning on rereading it before the movie comes out near the end of this month. And I've heard this one is awesome. Ever since Raylene at Pet Foot and Prongs read this for a booktubeathon and she was just loving it, I've wanted to read it. All I know is it's a romance and it takes place in just one day. That was so lame. I swear we're at the bottom of the pile now. So next I got The Disenchantments by Nina LaCour, who is the author of Everything Leads to You, which I really want to read as well. This book I got in the paperback because this cover is awesome. It looks like a movie poster. It just makes me want to read it. It just looks really cool. So this book, I believe, is about a girl who is supposed to go on like a road trip and kind of do all these crazy things with her friends, but then last minute she decides to go to college. So it's contemporary. I've been reading a lot of contemporaries lately, so I think I will like this one a lot. Next I got Beauty Queens by Lib Bray. I remember seeing this book everywhere all the time, and I finally picked up a copy. It looks really interesting. It's about girls who are supposed to go to a pageant, but then they end up on this stranded island. So that sounds like it will make for a really entertaining read. We're at the final 3. So next I got The Shadowhunters Codex by Cassandra Clare and her husband Joshua Lewis. So I don't know if I'm going to read this all the way, like actually read it. I might just skim through it and like read the little, because there's little like notes in the margins and stuff, so I might just skim through and read those. We will see. Look at that awesome, what, illustration. Mostly I just got it because it was, mostly I just got it because it was $3 and book collection. So the second to last book I got is The Beginning of Everything by Robin Schneider. So this book is about Ezra Faulkner, who is supposed to do all these popular guy things like come Homecoming King, all that stuff, and then he finds out his girlfriend is cheating on him and he falls for the new girl. So that sounds like it makes for an interesting story, and I've heard really great things about it. And the final book I got is Opposition by Jennifer Armentrout, the final book in the Lux series. I know I don't have the other 2. I already ordered the bind-ups and they're coming. They'll be in my next book haul. But yeah, I figured I would just buy the last one now. I would have bought the other 2 as well at like the same time, but they didn't have them, which is really obnoxious. So I just got this one, and look at how friggin' sparkly and darkly. Oh, can I make half of his face mine? Wait. Is it working? I don't think it's working. But yeah, so this series is about a girl who ends up having this super hot neighbor who ends up being an alien, and there are a bunch of people after him to get his supernatural abilities, and yeah, sounds really interesting, and I've heard like a bunch of people really love it, so I'm interested to see if it really is that good despite the covers. So I was going to try and pick these up, but there is no way that's happening. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
This must be love.